in a corner of the Saitama sewage treatment plant. Workers take us for a look at a danger they never thought they'd have to deal with. Underneath the tarps wrapped in layers of waterproof sheeting are tons of radioactive sewage. Saitama is hundreds of kilometers away from the crippled Fukushima nuclear plant. Still, in May, alarming levels of radioactive cesium were detected in the sewage sludge. Workers said the government asked the plant's employees to store the waste, but none of them have any training in how to handle the hazardous material.
We're trying to study how the radiation will affect us, but we can't understand everything. That's all we can do to cope.
Treated sewage used to be passed on to cement and fertilizer companies. With it now radioactive, no one wants to take it. In a hallway, the piles stretch for 1 kilometer.
When we run out of space, then we just have to stop the operation entirely. We're already in an emergency situation, but if that happens, we're in serious trouble.
There are more than a dozen sewage plants in Japan facing the same situation. Still, months after the nuclear disaster, the government has no policy on what to do with the waste. Al Jazeera requested an interview, but a government spokesman refused, saying the radioactive sewage is not an immediate danger. The government has told the public and the staff working at these facilities that the radiation threat is minimal and that the air quality is safe. However, we've been walking up and down this corridor just a few minutes, and our Geiger counter has already gone off several times. Currently, it's reading 0.60, 0.61. Soil expert Sozo Suzuki says in a healthy environment, radiation levels should barely register.
This is a disaster affecting all residents in Japan. The level of danger is not that adults and children will die tomorrow, but in 5 to 10 years' time, cancer or illness will show. We know that from Chernobyl.
The government is allowing low-level radioactive sewage to be turned into fertilizer, despite warnings from experts that it will affect food in Japan. Worries over contamination have led some farmers to spend more on high-end fertilizers, free of sewage.
We check the fertilizers for radiation and also where they come from. It's how we can be sure it's safe.
Back at Saitama, workers have been asked to stay away from the waste when not working on it. The more cesium there is, the more the radioactivity increases. And the worry now is whether the growing piles could soon affect the people living around the plant. Steve Chao, Al Jazeera, Saitama, Japan.